Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So let's talk about Starlink and Belize. I've gotten so many questions through this channel about Starlink and when Starlink is going to be available and how it works here, and how we got internet. Of course, we have a point-to-point system. We're lucky enough to be located near a tower, so we use a satellite that sends a signal to a tower and it communicates back and forth between each other. But we're rural. Most of Belize, I would say probably 80 to, well, I'd probably say about 80% of Belize really doesn't have good internet or cell phone coverage. More than cell phone coverage is going to be internet. If you don't live right off of one of the main roads, or you're not in a city where the very few and select even provide internet here, if you can't get cellular service to even get on your cell phone, as far as getting internet in rural areas in Belize, if you're not using some kind of satellite system, it's really going to be nothing. You're not going to be able to get it. But anyhow, so Starlink did apply to get their licenses in Belize, and they've been going through the political red tape for quite some time, trying to bring the system to where you can use it in Belize, because you can literally use it on the border of Belize and Mexico and on the border of Belize and Guatemala. It's amazing that you can go right up in there and you can set up your system and it can be working. And for a lot of areas, especially rural, remote areas that have local schools in them, to not have internet to be able to just teach with, is kind of a downfall, in my opinion, if you ask me. But anyways, I'm not a professional on any of this. I just wanted to bring you guys the information that was handed to us here in Belize. So go ahead and take a look at this. I got a video clip that I want you to watch, and then there's some things to read, and then we'll get back into the video.
As it currently stands, the law as it stands, there are certain obligations placed on, legal obligations placed on persons who become holders of your personal information. Now, we are not licensing Starlink. We have granted them a license, and some of the obligations that are mandated under the Data Protection Act would not necessarily apply to them. So my response to that would be, I think that the law in that area is still developing, yes, but the fact that we have not issued them a license, there is not that legal obligation to comply with the provisions of the Data Protection Act either.
Is that to say that they are free to use this data as they wish?
Not necessarily. That the thing is, I would not know, and we also had this issue here at the PUC. I wouldn't know the specific terms and conditions between Starlink and a customer when it comes to a customer signing up and allowing themselves to purchase a terminal. I think it's something that may be governed by a contract at that point between the two persons. But as I said, when we issue licenses, we certainly place certain legal obligations, data protection obligations on our licensees.
All right, guys. So as you can see from watching the video clip and the little bit of reading right there, that they're really putting a clamp on Starlink. It really didn't make a lot of sense. Even the video clip really didn't make a lot of sense. I didn't really understand the points that she was trying to make, because the points, in my opinion, just really didn't add up. They were talking about cost, and they were talking about data security, and I mean, we're in Belize. I don't think anybody here is really worried about their data that much. I think people would rather have internet if they're in a remote area, you know, and then to say that it's only going to be for emergencies, then you have to register your system. And then it also says there in the part where it's only going to be for marine and aircraft. So to be honest with you, I'm not fully sure of what's going on with Starlink in Belize, but I can tell you that they're not making it easy for Starlink to be here. Absolutely not. In my opinion, you know, to use the cost of the equipment and data is kind of, that just doesn't make any sense to me. You know, people here in Belize afford things a lot more expensive than a Starlink system, you know, and maybe bringing Starlink to some areas would help improve businesses and their reach to customers, because, you know, most of the businesses here in Belize is all done through the internet, WhatsApp, Facebook, you know, it's all really done that way. So in my opinion, it would help reach more people. So like I said, about what they're saying in the clip and this other stuff just really isn't making any sense to me. So it's like Starlink is here, but it's not here. It's here if you need an emergency, or if you're in a real rural remote area, which that didn't make any sense either, because that's where most people are going to be using Starlink. So I'm not really understanding what they're trying to say. I don't think a lot of people that are going to listen to this and read this are going to, are going to understand what they're trying to say. If you understand what they're trying to say, or if you know what's going on, please feel free, leave something in the comments, because it's just kind of open-ended. It's like, you know, yeah, we're going to have Starlink, but we're not going to have Starlink, only for emergencies and real rural places. And, you know, I always thought that that's basically what Starlink was for. If you're going on long road trips in an RV, or if you have a sailing vessel or a boat, or if you live in rural areas, I don't see why somebody would spend the money on a Starlink system just to be able to only use it for emergency purposes. So anyways, that's basically what's going on here in Belize, is that it has Starlink, but it doesn't have Starlink, and it looks like they're going to make you go through a whole bunch of red tape, you know, and I think it's, once again, because it's controlled by an outside entity. You know, and just like when Coke ran Pepsi out of Belize, I don't believe that the companies that are here want Starlink, because it's another option. You know, it's kind of like the monopoly. Anyways, that's just my opinion. But yeah, so Starlink is in Belize, but it's not in Belize, if that makes any sense. Like I said, if you guys have a better understanding of what this young woman was trying to say in her video clip and what they printed out for the press release, or if you are here and actually know what's going on, please leave a comment down there so we can be better informed, so I can be better informed, because as I'm taking this, you can have it, but only for an emergency case. So that's the way that I look at it. Or you can have it on an aircraft or a boat, but it has to be registered. I don't know. The laws here in Belize are really hard to decipher. So thanks for watching. Hope this brought some information to you guys. So Belize has Starlink, but it doesn't have Starlink. That makes any sense? Welcome to Belize. Thanks for watching, everyone.